Draymond is our emotional and spiritual leader, and when he says stuff like that, it's good for us. If he says it to the media, there's method to his madness. He knows the rest of the guys are going to see it, and he wants them to see it.
Coach Kerr, live in San Antonio. Hey, Coach, what's going on?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing good after everything that's gone on lately, and with the start of the week in Oklahoma City. Give us a sense of what last night did for you guys.
Well, we just got back to kind of who we are, with an identity, the way we have played for many years. We strayed from that a little bit, and sometimes that happens during the season, and I think we lost a little confidence along the way, and so it was a very important game. I mean, I don't think it was like this all-out crisis or anything, but it was an important game to get us back on track, remind ourselves, how we have to play, who we have to be. And we got a good road win against one of the best young teams in the league.
Just one more about OKC, Steve, because I don't know if I've ever seen a team get a delay a game coming out of the locker room at halftime. Did you lose track of time, or was it more of a heavy-duty team meeting that was going on?
We had all 5 guys on the floor, so I didn't understand why it was called, and the ref told me that it was because one of our players on the bench took a couple of extra shots while, the half was about to start. So it was a really bizarre one. I've never seen that before. The guys who were on the floor were all ready to play, so usually that's all you need to do to avoid that penalty. But they got us for, I guess an extra shot or two, in the warm-up.
Buddy, right? I mean, because Buddy loves to come out during timeouts and get the ball. It was Buddy, right, Steve?
I'm not saying one word.
Okay, all right.
I'm not saying one word about who it was.
I love it.
That would not be. No, that wouldn't be fair to Buddy if I said his name out.
Sure, it would not be. Yeah, and we would never want you to be unfair to Buddy because we all love Buddy. But I'm going to go ahead and take that as a win. Thanks, Steve.
Oh, jeez.
Hey, listen, I will take it with Buddy. Buddy puts up more shots than every single one of our guys, including Steph, by the way. We monitor this stuff with the technology we have in our training center at Chase, and so every shot that every player takes is recorded, tracked. We know how many they made. We know the misses, where they missed. We know the arc. I mean, you'd be amazed at the information we have. And all Buddy does is shoot. You can see sometimes during the games he holds a ball when he's on the bench because he just he loves the feel of the ball, and so he loves to shoot. So I can't blame him. I don't mind getting attacked because he just wants to get a couple extra shots.
I love it.
Yeah, these refs need to get back to youth sports where the brothers and sisters of the players go out there and shoot way too long at halftime every game. That's the rules. You got to be out there.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. You got whoever's allowed to be out there should just be allowed to shoot until the whistle actually blows.
Hey, Coach, while we're on this, and we're talking with Steve Kerr here on Willard and Dibs, on a more actual X's and O's basketball note, what is going on with Buddy Hield? Because it does feel like he's a little bit out of sync right now.
Nothing. I'm sure we had the same conversation last year at some point in the season. So he is a shooter. He's unafraid. He's going to shoot every time he's open. And it's no different from baseball. A guy goes hitless for 3 or 4 games in a row. Everyone says, well, he's kind of in a slump, and then he hits one hard and everything changes. That's it. Buddy's playing so hard defensively, pressuring the ball up and down the floor. He's doing fine. The shots will go. We know that.
Steve, I wonder if you would take the fans through the entire thought process on lineup and rotation changes. We saw, obviously, the starting lineup with Moody and Will Richard getting in there, but what is the current thought process on that grouping, and what did you see once it went out there?
Yeah, well, we clearly hadn't been right The previous, 3, 4, 5 games, we were out of sync. And so the lineup was built with the idea of finding our rhythm, getting back in sync, getting back to our identity. So, I've always felt Steph and Draymond need passing and cutting around them, and Jimmy needs shooting around him. And, at the end of last year, we found a really good groove with Moses and BP, and, we went 23-8 with that group, I think, and, obviously found a really good groove. But Moses missed, the main 2 weeks of training camp, and so we got away from that. And because JK was playing really well early on and we were winning games, you guys asked me then, I said, this is our starting lineup going forward. And going forward does not mean forever. It just means going forward. And I would say the same thing now. Watching Will cut and distribute and create the space that Steph needs and Jimmy needs with his shooting and his movement, and then watching Moses guard the ball so well. And he's in a great group shooting the ball. I'm going forward with this group, and we'll see how long it lasts, but I like what I saw last night.
And JK unable to play in the second half last night, and I assume it's because of the bilateral knee tendinitis. How's he doing, and what do you think the prognosis is, to use your words, going forward?
Yeah, he's been sore the last couple of days. He was a question mark for last night, and he wanted to play. He felt good enough in warm-ups that he thought he could go, and then by the time halftime came, he was in some pain, and so he and Rick met, and Rick came and told me that he would be out for the second half. So I would say he's doubtful for tomorrow, just based on, he was if he got hurt, before last night and playing aggravated it, it doesn't mean that it doesn't make much sense to send him back out tomorrow. But I will say he's doubtful because I don't have the official word yet from Rick, and he and the performance staff and JK will get together tomorrow, and we'll figure out his status from there.
By the way, Steve, just while we're on that, you mentioned that he and Rick Celebrini met. I'd love to know, just in a more general sense, how much say a player has in stuff like that. Like when something sort of changes on the outlook, does it usually come from the player or the team?
It's both. It's a collaboration. The players give the performance team every single day. They give them information on how they're feeling health-wise with any bumps and bruises that they have. They're getting treatment all the time for anything that's bothering them. So it's always a collaboration. Even Draymond last night, we were planning to give him the night off because he hadn't had a night off all year. But he only played 20 minutes against OKC, and he came to me and Rick on the plane and said, "Hey, I really want to go tomorrow. I didn't even play enough to really feel tired, and we need this one tomorrow." And I always leave it in Rick's hands because I trust him with all this stuff. And Rick gave him the okay. He said, and then when Dre was back in his seat, Rick said to me, we have to protect him from himself, but this one makes sense. Like you have to have feel with this stuff too. You can't just predetermine everything. And Rick made the right call because we really needed the win. We needed to rediscover our team, and Draymond is obviously such a huge part of that. His defense on Wembanyama was amazing last night.
To that end, is the plan for Draymond to play again tomorrow night?
Yeah, he'll be out there tomorrow night. I think there's a really good chance that the back-to-back next week in Orlando, Miami, that you'll see some guys miss one of those two games. We just have to protect these guys. Obviously our big three, Jimmy, Steph, Draymond, and then Al, at 39. We've already announced, he's not going to play any back-to-back. So it's really hard to do during the season. You either lose a couple games and feel like, man, we have to have these guys, or you win a couple and you think, well, we got to get them some rest. And before you know it, the season is in full swing, and so we have to be we have to be proactive in making sure we get these guys enough rest. Sometimes Mother Nature takes care of it, like last week with Steph. He got 3 games off in a way that we didn't intend and that we didn't want, but in the long run, those 3 games off will help him, actually.
And he comes back Wednesday, and he clearly wasn't quite himself yet. And then in the postgame, Draymond had those comments about, the team maybe not having the same commitment to winning. Is that something that you were kind of sensing in the locker room, and he just kind of spoke it into existence? Is that something that you have been feeling as well?
Well, it's just the way Draymond put it, and I know exactly what he was saying. I just wouldn't put it that way because I don't think there's any individual player who is, not committed to winning. I think what happens is we get misguided. We don't realize, some of the things we're doing are not conducive to winning. Sometimes guys try too hard, and so trying too hard can be, not committed to winning also. So it's never a conscious decision. It's just, the margin for error and, between winning and losing in the NBA is so small that, you lose a couple games and you get slightly out of sync, ball's not moving quite fast enough, or you turn it over too many times, or you're not rebounding, and all of a sudden, you get blown out. It looks like you have no energy because you're dejected. That's what Draymond was talking about. And it feels like a lack of commitment to winning, I guess, but it's really more just, hey, man, this is the greatest league in the world, and we're out of sync, and we've got to refocus our efforts and what we're trying to accomplish.
So, Steve, what happens for you when something like that goes down? Like, I almost wonder if there's a little buzzer in your pocket or something like that. Like when Draymond has a press conference and says something that is going to gather the interest of your fan base, and maybe you knew he was going to say something, or maybe it was off the cuff and you didn't. I sort of wonder, is that coming just organically, and sort of what happens for you when comments like that are made in the moment?
Well, if I haven't heard it already, then Raymond Ritter will send it to me. That's the first thing that happens. Okay. I'll see it on my phone. Main thing is, Draymond and I have been together, and Steph, obviously, this is our 12th year. Draymond is our emotional and spiritual leader, and when he says stuff like that, it's good for us. And people, are going to make, a big deal out of it, and maybe it turns into national media. And obviously we don't love that part, but that's just part of the deal. But Draymond always has his finger on the pulse of what's going on with the team. He can be dramatic in the way he expresses it, like he was the other night, but it's good for us. He needed to put our team on edge. And so it wasn't just a few comments to the media. We met yesterday and talked as a team and watched film, and Draymond has addressed the group a couple of times over the last week. So we're already on this, and Draymond is on it. And if he says it to the media, there's method to his madness. He knows the rest of the guys are going to see it, and he wants them to see it.